Rich Paul, the super agent. And Rob, I got to say this. I mean, I've known Rich since I first met LeBron James.
You mean since he wasn't rich?
Right. Rich when Rich wasn't rich. That's right. Met him. I think I met LeBron maybe his second year. Met him for real. And Rich was there, and I've known Rich.
I met LeBron when he was in high school, Chris. To this day, it was me, Worldwide West, and LeBron. And that was it at the Palace.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to look him straight in the face and talk to him. Worldwide West wanted to introduce him to me, and I still remember that. An executive with the Knicks. But I remember looking our first meeting with LeBron, just looking at this guy saying, how was he in high school? That was what I said when I saw him in person.
I hear you. But so when I wrote for ESPN the magazine, Rob, we started doing a next issue where we would, try to come up with who's going to be the next big thing, whether it's a basketball player, football player, agent, front office person, coach, whatever. And I pitched that we do Rich Paul. This is right when he became an agent. And we had a big story on him, full layout, photo shoot, all that. And obviously that article has come to pass. That was back in, I believe, 2014. And he certainly did go on to become a super agent. But anyway, he was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, which is a big source of talking points for us and others, Rob. But Rich Paul was on there talking about, of course, they asked him about LeBron and versus Michael Jordan. For those who might not know, Rich Paul is LeBron's agent, was a friend of his, met when LeBron was in high school, and has gone on to become one of the top agents in the game with Clutch Sports. But anyway, here's what Rich said about Jordan v. LeBron.
LeBron is the first player to have to deal with a 24/7 news cycle of sports from those that's not even capable or carry the expertise to give a valid opinion. I just think LeBron's antlers is in platinum and Michael's may be in gold. Why? Because when you think about, he had to be compared to Mike. Who did Mike have to be compared to?
All right, there it is. I'll say this. I mean, obviously you and I anybody that listens to us knows we've got Jordan as the GOAT. We've got LeBron as number 2, both of us. And if Rich or anybody wants to argue for LeBron, have at it. Obviously, he's got a lot of, there's arguments you can make for LeBron. But to me, Rob, this isn't one of them. Like, I agree. I've said it. I've been saying it for years that LeBron James, I honestly believe, Rob, is the most scrutinized athlete in American history. And a lot of that is because of the times. Obviously, Ali and other athletes were very much scrutinized when they played, but just because of social media, the talk shows like ours, you didn't have these national radio shows, for most of Jordan's career. And you certainly didn't have the debate shows, the Undisputed, the First Takes, the First Things First that I'm on, where every single day we are talking about every single game. All 82 games if you're a star, all 17 games if you're in the NFL. And they just didn't have that level of scrutiny back in the day. So, Rob, if LeBron misses a potential game-winning shot on a Tuesday night in January in San Antonio, it becomes a big story the next day, whereas that wasn't the case for the Magics and the Jordans and all those guys. But to me, that has absolutely nothing to do with the GOAT conversation. And furthermore, I would say that Jordan, who did get criticized, you may take it there, Rob, but we both know early in his career, really before he won the ring, he got criticized. He's not Magic. You're not Bird. They win. You just put up points, blah, blah, blah. But he was compared to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Dr. J, Rob, because his game was, he had the flair, the high flying of Dr. J. And so that's where, now I get it. It's tougher to be compared to Mike because he is, for the most part, viewed as the GOAT. And he won more than anybody in recent, any superstar since Bill Russell. And so I get that's a tougher comparison, but it's not fair to say Michael wasn't compared to anybody because, as I mentioned, Bird, Magic, and Dr. J.
100%. Once again, Rich Paul is a negative from this standpoint. You can't buy into anything that Rich Paul says. He owes his entire life to LeBron James, and there's nothing wrong with that. He took care of one of his buddies. What is he supposed to say? Rich Paul's opinion when it comes to LeBron James is jaded, is tilted, is biased. I mean, I don't know. Really? Is there anybody on the podcast who had the nerve to push back a little bit? I'll break down, Chris, So first of all, he's friends with LeBron James. Okay? Number two, he also got in his shot that we can't evaluate by people who can't evaluate the players. But he also has where's the issue with the NBA players who wouldn't even vote LeBron, the 100+ who wouldn't even vote him to the All-Star game?
Right.
The NBA players who don't even have him in their top 10. Do those guys not count anymore? Ray Allen played with LeBron James. He didn't even have him in his top 5. So go ahead and make this is us against them. And that we don't know what we're talking about. Chris, we're more unbiased than the players. We don't have skin in the game.
No doubt about
I don't care what anybody says.
If you just do an objective view of it, there's no doubt that the media are human beings.
No, I'm not saying
there
all.
There may be some biases
Chris,
here and there, but overall, there's no question.
And I've always said, and I know you get tired of hearing me talk about it, Barry Bonds was a bad word to the media, Chris.
Right.
He was a jerk. Okay? He won 7 MVPs, National League MVPs. Who voted for him? The writers. They could have said, oh, we know what, we're going to screw this guy. No, they couldn't because he was that good.
Yeah,
so stop.
Right.
Stop with that.
What was Jackie Robinson? He was Rookie of the Year.
Chris, yes, go ahead, man.
1947.
No, and there were no black writers.
Right.
Okay?
No doubt, Rob, a lot of them were racist. That's just because of the times.
Right. It was 1947.
Some of those writers were racist.
And they voted for the what, right? Jackie Robinson was the black player in the National League, and Larry Doby in the American League, Chris. And there was only one Rookie of the Year. And guess who the writers voted for? Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
They didn't have to. And that's what, stop with this, the media. Dude, we actually study it more. We've talked about the Shaq when he asked
Lenny Wilkens.
Lenny Wilkens. Hey, coach, you know a lot about the game. Did you ever play? Yeah, I'm on the top 50 list with you, Shaq. All these guys, Chris, they don't know the history. They haven't done their studying. They were out playing.
One thing, when I first started covering the league, Rob, and I had been covering it for a while at this point, but just one thing that surprised me was, now, there are players who are students of the game. LeBron's one of them, right? Absolute students of the game. But it's surprising that there is a good number, Rob, that they were playing.
Yep.
They weren't. You and I and others.
We were watching every game.
Every Saturday, watching the college games, watching NFL we were watching. A lot of these guys weren't. They're playing, they're balling, and they became great players. But, yeah, there's no doubt. I didn't think you were going to take it there. But, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. And here's the thing, Rob. I'm not an auto mechanic, right? I don't know how to fix a car. But if I pay someone to fix my car and they screw it up, I can criticize them. I paid you, dude. You're supposed to know how to do it. You're the professional. You're supposed to know how to fix this. And that is where it is with the media and athletes. No, we can't play it. Most of us, those who weren't pro athletes themselves, we can't play it at the level these guys can, no doubt. But that doesn't, you're professionals. You're being paid to do it. And if you don't do it well, we can point it out.
And Chris, we talked about it before. You think it's hard to make the NBA with 400 jobs? Try to get a national sports talk radio show or be on Undisputed or First Take, Chris, when there's a handful of people in this country at 330 million who actually get that job. There are not 20 places to go work.
Rob.
There's Fox Sports 1, there's ESPN, and maybe
Yep.
CBS in a fourth place. Bleacher Report. That's it, Chris. It ain't
No
32 places to go work. Stop it. These are the best of the best in the business. We got to go to school. We have training. Stop with this whole idea that we fell off turnip trucks and we don't know what we're doing. It's exact opposite. Whenever a player said something to me, you know what I would say? You're right. I never made it to the league. But you know what? You've never written a column for a major newspaper, so you don't know what I do either.
No, I feel you. I will say this, knowing Rich well. Rich is a straight shooter, solid dude. He will now. Obviously, LeBron's his boy from high school, and LeBron. Obviously, he's benefited greatly. He's worked hard, but he's benefited a lot from LeBron. So you're right. I don't know how in the world he wouldn't say LeBron's the GOAT.
When there's no way, Chris.
There's an argument
no way.
for LeBron.
There's no way.
But Rich is a straight shooter. Generally, just speaks his mind. And he's a solid dude and a great agent, no doubt about that. But when it comes to LeBron, I mean, that's his guy.
I understand it. What are you going to say? Oh, no, LeBron's not the GOAT. Really? Hello? I'm blocked. Or, if he says LeBron is, he'll be blocked.
No, right. Absolutely. I remember, Rob, after they beat Golden State 3-1. You remember they came back from the 3-1 deficit in 2016. We're all on the court. Everybody's celebrating. Media's there trying to get the players, whatever. Rich Paul's up in my ear. Jordan couldn't do that. He the best now. He's the GOAT. He wanted me to. He knew I was going on TV shortly thereafter.
He was trying to dictate
and he wanted
what
me to say it right. And I was like, look, it was a great accomplishment. Awesome for LeBron, but I ain't going there.